Hi everybody, how are we doing? Matt from Hannah Fields, back with a market garden update for December. We are about a week out now from winter solstice, and I thought I'd jump on here and give you a little nosy and gander around the growing space. Not a lot happening at this time of year. Things are settling down. We've got a few overwintering veggies in the ground, and the attention now for me is reflection. So reflecting on the growing area and sort of thinking about what did well for us this year, how we can aim to improve, and what we're going to potentially do in the growing space next year when we get to sort of mid-Feb, which is sort of the catalyst really. Mid-February is the catalyst for when I get my seeds out and I go again. So we don't actually have that much of a break if you sort of think about when you plant your last seeds of the year. For me, it's garlic. And I kind of do that around sort of mid to late October into the first week in November. So then you only get sort of 3 months off and you're back on it again, aren't you? So yes, this time of year is about planning. And that's exactly what I'm going to be doing over the next sort of 3 or 4 weeks. Sort of getting in my head what I'm planning on growing next year, where I'm growing it, what varieties, what quantities, all that sort of thing. And be organised so that when I get to sort of mid-Feb, everything's on point and I am ready to go. But in the meantime, let's have a look around. There's not a lot to show you, but it's good to show you so we can see the transitions from one month to a next. And let's start over here. So not a lot going on. We've got the sort of last dregs, if you will, of our kale, our curly and calavanero kale. It's still giving little bits of harvest and growing very slowly, which it will do. Over the winter period, just to show you here, it's still lush and green, and this is going to give us some nice pickings over the next sort of few months before it will sort of give it a bout of growth in mid-Feb and then flower in April. That's kind of the general consensus based on when we plant things like kale. Yes, so plenty of harvests left in this yet. And speaking of little harvests, that's exactly what the rainbow chard is going to do for us. It's as you can see, the leaves are getting smaller now, which is normal for this time of year. So these will just tickle over the winter period and give us a few leaves here and there, and then it'll grow again in Feb and give us a little bit more before again it seeds again in April, like the kale. Main bed, not a lot left here. We've been eating them, obviously. This was leeks, and we've got a few left in. Not many, maybe a couple of weeks worth of leeks, which we'll be eating over the festive period, and a few in January before this bed is empty, and that'll give me an opportunity to dress the bed again. So once our beds become empty, we put an inch or so of topsoil compost that we've made, and it's ready to grow again as we get into February. All this planning, all this care that you're going to do now will save so much time when you get into that time of the year where you're like, oh my God, I need to plant seeds, I need to plan, blah, blah, blah. Plan it now, get organised now, get your ground prep done, and you can concentrate on the fun stuff. A few cheeky red cabbages left. We've got a few in, like I say, and these will tie us over for the next couple of months. Our Brussels are ready now, which we're going to start harvesting. They've not grown massively big. Some of them are a foot big, some of them are 3 foot big, but we've got food, so that's all good. And then we've got a few cheeky purple Savoy cabbages, which have never grown before. They're not massive, but they are beautiful, and they're certainly going to give us some nice food over the winter. And these will just sit in the ground, and we can pick them as and when we need them. I'm probably going to grow this variety again next year, but maybe sow it a few weeks earlier and pull it somewhere else and see if we can get a better crop. I don't know why, but this bed in general this year is grown crops that normally grow this big. It's been quite small, and there's no reason why, so I need to look into it. Well, there's no evidence on the surface as to why. I mean, this gets the same amount of daylight, for instance, and sun as this side of the bed, so there's no obstruction here. So it's something I'm going to look into over the next few weeks and see why brassicas grow smaller on that side. Compost area. We've been turning compost and using compost and topping up our beds over the last few weeks, which is a great job to do over the winter. We keep putting all our sort of scraps from the garden and all our garden waste into our compost bays to create compost constantly. Something I recommend doing. If you've got compost bays, keep them full. If you haven't got them, build some and fill them up. It's slow as well in the polytunnels at the minute. You know, we've got lots of Asian greens and winter salads going on, and we're just sort of harvesting and picking little bits as we need them. And as always, you know, there's always plenty to grow at this time of year. You know, there's no reason why you can't keep your indoor growing spaces full all year round. Things like kales and rainbow chard and pak choys, tatsoys. Get your spring onions in the ground, you know, as you get into sort of September, October indoors, and then they'll give you a nice harvest in May. You know, things like Valadors and Winter Density, great salads you can grow indoors. So they're ones I recommend. Asian greens like purple frills and various mizunas like this. We love this Asian green mizuna down here. And it's very abundant and it just keeps growing and growing and growing. So there's plenty of food you can grow at this time of year. Herbs are another good one over the winter. We grow things like coriander. So this tickles nicely over the winter and then gives a nice big bout of growth in sort of March, April before it flowers. So you kind of get in 2 harvests. Parsley, we always grow parsley over the winter from a late July sowing, and we plant this out end of August, early September. And that gives us a nice bit of fresh leafy herb over the winter period. Same thing going on really in this polytunnel. It's all the same crops, just in different spacings and different spaces and places. You know, it's all just stuff to tie us over the winter period. We've got some salads and rainbow chards and spinach going on in here, as well as kales and more spring onions for next year, and a storage batch of overwintering carrots that are already grown. They're just sort of sat there ready to be harvested. So that's another thing to consider. If you like carrots, maybe sow them inside in August and you'll just have a nice tickle over the winter period to keep you going. Plus, I always find they do a little bit better indoors over the winter than outside. I always think they get slug nibbled and just a bit more, you know, susceptible to rot with it being more wet. And yeah, speaking of planning and plotting, I've been doing a bit of that over the last sort of few weeks myself. So we had a raised bed here which was salad, and we grow salad all year round. It was rotting, so I just took it out and replenished the bed with some homemade compost. So that's ready to go. I don't have to think about that bed now until this time next year. So I can get all my crops in the ground. There's plenty of nutrition, plenty of good stuff in that soil to grow whatever I want to grow for the next 12 months. We had some Jerusalem artichokes in here that were doing well, so we took them out, and then we've basically created another strawberry patch. So good time of year to get your strawberries moved if that is something you want to grow, and split them, divide them up, or you can keep them inside in pots if you want to do that. I always find just transferring the new runners at this time of year, they survive the winter and do well. Garlic, it is going for it now, and as you can see, it's all poking up. They're sort of 3 or 4 inches long at sort of the maximum height. Some of them are about 1 inch long in places as well. Perfect amount of growing time just to get their roots down over the winter, and then they go for it when we get into mid-Feb next year for a end of June harvest. More bed prep here. So I took out the last of the cauliflowers a few weeks ago and just top dressed it with a couple of centimeters of homemade compost. Again, ready to grow. It's planned, it's ready to put stuff in it when it's ready to be planted. And down here, a few more bits and pieces tickling over, mainly things like swedes and the odd turnip and some spring onions. And these will just be harvested as and when we need them throughout the next few months. Not a lot going on. It's that time of the year, like I say, where everything's settling down, and that's exactly what the growing space is doing in general. So we'll be planning and plotting what we're going to be growing next year over the next few weeks, and you know, like I say, it's only a couple of months away before we get our seeds out again. So that's the growing space for December. 2025. Thank you so much for everybody who's been tuning into the channel. We only launched it about 6 sort of months ago, and your interaction is well received, and I'm very grateful. So thank you, like I say, for all the support this year, and we look forward to bigger and better things in 2026. Lots of love, take care, and I'll see you soon.